Next, we'll return to a topic we've already discussed earlier on, which is the key prop. When we're working with a list and we're rendering a list or an array of similar elements, adjacent elements of the same component, like a number item or a bunch of ULs or LIs or whatever it is, React can get confused and it will warn us if we're missing a key prop. Currently, we have a map. We're making a bunch of number items. React will warn us each child in a list should have a unique key prop. So we don't have a unique key prop right now. It's warning us. It still works. Our code is running. We're able to delete things, but this can be problematic. And as we've already discussed, React needs that key prop to be able to keep track of different elements, what should be showing, what should be hiding. If you reorder stuff, if you remove things, it needs to be able to keep essentially your data in sync with what it is rendering, what it's showing you. So we need to give it a key prop, and the most important thing for any given key in one list is that it is unique. Every key should be a unique value. With our numbers list, we could use the number itself, assuming that these numbers remain unique. I could set key equals and then n. So n is the actual number. Now we don't get that warning, and things still work. I can delete. That's going great. I think I'm going to get rid of that alert. It's pretty obnoxious. Comment you out. But there is a significant issue if my data is not unique and all of a sudden I have a 2 and a 11 again. So those are two numbers that have been duplicated. That means that we'll have a number item that has a duplicate key. Two of them will have two 2s and two 11s. And it's going to warn me about that. Encountered two children with the same key 2. The key should be unique so that components maintain their identity across updates. Non-unique keys may cause children to be duplicated and or omitted. So if we play around with this and I try and delete, let's say that first one that had 2 as its key, and then 7, I don't know if you can see what's going on here. It's getting real screwed up real fast. We've got 4 11s all of a sudden. Now if I delete 2 again, it just added in a whole bunch of other things. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 11s. It's being very odd and unpredictable. It's not deleting the way that we expect it to, and that all stems from the fact that we have duplicate keys. So you never want to have a duplicate key. Usually, in the real world at least, you'll have information that is built into your data. You'll have something that we can use coming from a database or an API that will work as a key. The whole point is to give these repeated elements some sort of identifier so React can keep track of them. It's how React maintains their identities and figures out when it needs to, or which one needs to be removed based off of our logic, which one of these number items needs to be changed or updated, hidden, added back in, all of that stuff. So in picking a key, we want something that is going to uniquely identify this one item or each item amongst its siblings. So number or n, like we were using, would be great if we knew these were always going to be unique numbers. But as we just saw, if that's not the case, then using that as a key is very problematic. Again, most often you would use keys or IDs coming from your database, coming from an API somewhere. It's much easier if you don't have to pick a key or come up with a key. And most of the time, there will be some ID or something that we can use as a key. And that could look something like this. If we had to-dos we were mapping over, these are coming from a database maybe, we would have a key of todo.id. As a very last resort, you can use the index, the iteration index, based off of the array position. It's not really something I recommend. It's actually what React will do if you don't specify a key. So if we get rid of that, it does use that array index. React can get confused if you're reordering things, if your elements are being deleted, if you have new items being added in, and those indices are being changed. So I wouldn't do that most of the time if you can avoid it. So generally, I wouldn't do that if you can avoid it, but it can work as a last resort. And we would just access index from map, the second parameter in our callback. We add that in. We can pass the index as the key. But just remember, this can cause performance problems, unexpected issues, bugs, craziness, sometimes. Other times it will work fine. So it's just something to keep in mind. One other thing I'll quickly mention is that there are tools you can use to generate IDs, unique IDs. There's a very popular package for NPM called UUID, and it allows you to very simply generate these random unique identifiers. So it has a lot of weekly downloads, as you can see, 27 million or 21 million downloads. All you need to do is npm install UUID, and then we can import it, and there is a particular method we're looking for called v4, and then we just execute that, and that will give us a new unique identifier, a random and hopefully unique. It's a pretty large space that it's generating these numbers in, and you can use that as your key, but you don't want to be generating a random number as the key every single render, so this is not a good idea. Let's say I had some helper function called const gen ID, and it just returned some random number or random string or random anything. How about return? I don't know why I defined that function that way. Let's just be consistent. Gen ID equals, and I'll probably, what should we do here? Just inline it, math.random times something like that. So we'll get this big number that's random, and it will be a decimal. That's fine. If we try doing key equals and then gen ID, come over here, run my code. If I open up the DevTools, we can see that we do have those unique identifiers as the keys, but the problem with my approach is that those keys are going to change every single time my number list re-renders, and it re-renders whenever the state changes. So whenever remove is called, we click a button in one of the child components. That button is going to then call this prop. It results in calling remove, which calls set numbers, which re-renders our numbers list component. And when a component re-renders, this is all going to run again, and that means that we'll be generating new IDs every single time we delete something. So if you watch this first one, it has 543.553.4577. I'm going to delete the last number 18. All of those IDs just changed. So every single one changed. This number is 2. This is the correct first button. It has a number of 2. But if I delete something else, that number 2 is still there, but the key has completely changed. Now it's still working for us in this scenario, but generally you don't want these keys to change. You want them to be something that is unique and associated or somehow identified with whatever your piece of data is. So with each number item, with each whatever to do, you would have an ID. A user, if you had a list of users or a list of Instagram posts or Reddit posts, you might have some other unique identifier. It doesn't have to be a numeric ID. It can be just something. You don't want to be using like an array as a key. It should be a number or a string. It will be turned into a string, as you can see there. So if you pass in a number, a numeric ID, that still works. It just is going to be treated as a string. Anyway, so I don't recommend doing that, but you do want some sort of unique key that you can pass in as the key prop so that React will stop yelling at us and hopefully it won't get confused.